my name is Nyamkhuu Magnaituvshin. You guys can call me Cindy. I am a core team member at the GDSC University of London, and I am in charge of public relations. And for this chip chat, I will be talking about the differences between RAM and ROM and what they are. So we can begin with RAM. So what is RAM? RAM is basically random access memory. It's a type of computer memory that allows the computer to temporarily store and quickly access data that it needs to perform various tasks. The key word here being temporarily. So what does that mean though? So RAM is basically like your computer's short-term memory. It helps your computer access data quickly and efficiently. If I were to take an example on a human being, it's like your short-term memory helping you to remember things at that moment. So we know what RAM is, but why do we need it? Why do we need it in our computer? Well, it allows us to run multiple programs at the same time without having to slow our computer down. And it can quickly access and manipulate data that it needs to run programs and applications on your computer. So essentially, it helps you to multitask, but without having to make up loss for slowing down your computer or time. So overall, considering this, it helps your computer to run smoother and quicker. Now that we know that RAM is a type of memory, what is the capacity of it? So essentially, the more RAM you have, the more data your computer can store and access quickly, which makes your computer run faster and more responsive. On the other end, if you don't have enough RAM in your computer, it can cause it to run slowly or cause any type of performance issue as it's unable to do multiple things at the same time. So considering RAM, we must remember to save our work. We have to remember that it is a temporary type of memory. So RAM is considered volatile memory, which means that it's rapidly changing. So that means any type of data stored in the RAM is lost when the computer is turned off or restarted. So that's why it's very important to save your work before shutting your computer down. So we all know that since RAM is a temporary type of memory, we've experienced this in the past where we've done lines and lines of work or pages of work on Microsoft Word, for example, and our battery runs out on our computer or your computer suddenly shuts down and you forgot to control save. So all of that all of those lines and pages you've been working on Microsoft Word were stored in RAM, which is temporary memory. And if you don't control save, it isn't saved in our hard drive. So when our computer shuts down, all of our work is lost. So I believe, I personally have been through this experience many times. I believe that many other people have too. So moving on, now that we know what RAM is, we can move on to ROM. So what is ROM? Well, ROM stands for read-only memory. Well, it's a type of computer memory similar to RAM, but ROM stores important data that your device needs to work properly. It's called read-only because you can't change or delete the data stored in it. The data stored in the ROM chip is retained even when the device is off. In comparison to RAM, you can't retain any data because it is off or it has been restarted because it is a type of temporary memory. So what does this mean? You can think of it as like a label on a jar of peanut butter. When peanut butter is going through the manufacturing process and the nutrition facts or the label or the brand is printed, afterwards you can't change what it says. So in a similar manner, the information stored on a ROM chip is printed during the manufacturing process, and after it can't be changed by the user. So we know what ROM is, but why do we need it? Why do we need ROM in our computer? Well, it contains a set of instructions that the computer uses to start up and initialize its hardware components. So to take an example, when our computer is off and we click the on and off button on our computer, it basically activates the ROM chip to tell the rest of the computer, oh, the computer is being turned on, and it activates everything. Other than that, it contains firmware that controls various components in the computer, such as the hard drive, keyboard, and mouse. So in a way, you can say it is an intermediary to connect the hardware to software. So now that we know what ROM is, we can compare the differences, in summary, of RAM and ROM. So firstly, RAM is a type of temporary storage, whereas ROM is a permanent type of storage. Secondly, RAM is volatile, where ROM is non-volatile. Volatile is rapidly changing, and non-volatile is the opposite. And lastly, RAM is used in normal operations, which means when you're just normally using your computer and like you need to do the tasks that you usually do on your computer, RAM is used. Whereas ROM, it's not used in these type of operations. It's only used for the boot up process. All right, so now that we know the differences of RAM and ROM, hopefully you were able to understand and have more insight on these differences. And if you were confused before, then I really hope this helped you to have a clearer understanding. Thank you.